Electronisounds Audio, the YouTube channel for you.
What was the original uni-vibe exactly? A vibrato pedal? A Leslie simulator? Chorus? Phaser? Well, yes and no. Sort of? To hear an example of the original uni-vibe in action, listen to David Gilmour's guitar on Pink Floyd's Breathe. Another classic example comes from Jimi Hendrix on Machine Gun from the Band of Gypsys live album recorded in 1970. Today, we're taking a look at the brand new Riptide effect pedal from Eventide, your ticket to a world of timeless tones and psychedelic sounds that will transport you to a bygone era. This effect has a legendary heritage, and the original uni-vibe pedal has been a staple in the arsenals of guitar legends for decades. The Eventide Riptide faithfully recreates those lush, swirling, and ethereal tones that defined an era. Whether you're looking to capture the essence of the 60s or add a unique dimension to your modern sound, Riptide has you covered. Adjust the speed and intensity to dial in your perfect vibe, create pulsating, hypnotic rhythms, or go for a subtle, dreamy modulation. The Riptide pedal gives you the power to shape your tones with or without added drive and distortion. And with rugged construction that's built to last, the Riptide pedal is ready to stand up to the rigors of gigging and touring or being constantly tweaked in a bedroom synth studio. In this video, we're going to be doing exactly that, and I'm going to show you how Riptide sounds in a wide variety of synth-based setups and in many different genres of electronic music. Stick around, let's have some fun. If you've been enjoying my content, please hit that like button. It feeds the YouTube algorithm and it really helps the channel. Thanks for the support, friends. Before we get too deep into the video today, I'd like to share with you my 5 favorite things about the Riptide pedal. The first of which is the color. I've got quite a few of the other Eventide .9 pedals, and they usually have a matte finish, but this finish is extra sparkly and extra shiny, and it's just a dreamy finish. It really reminds me of like the muscle cars from the 70s when people were doing a lot of custom things with their cars and with the finishes of those cars and trying to get that extra deep, rich, glossy luster in the finish. This really reminds me of that. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I know it's a little geeky to really, get in with how our tools look, but I do think that it's important that we really gel and vibe with the way that our tools look, and I just can't get over how gorgeous this pedal is. Next, I really like that it takes both a mono or a stereo input, so we can get mono or stereo sound sources running through the Riptide. I absolutely adore what it does to a mono signal. It can widen it up to just extreme, widths and give a whole new life to that sound, or we can use it subtly and just gently thicken up the sounds as well. Next up, I really like the drive circuits in this pedal. If this was just a drive pedal on its own with no vibe, I would still think it would be a fantastic pedal. I absolutely love what these drive and distortion tones here can do to like a bass sound. We can take a really gentle and a really plain bass sound, run it through this drive, crank up the drive and this tone, and get it turned into an absolute snarling beast. On that note, I really like the variety of tones that we can get out of this. It doesn't necessarily need to be a really extreme tweak to your sound. We can get some really slow and subtle movements as well. Or we can go extreme depending on what we need and really crank up that speed, really crank up the vibe and intensity and the level, and especially this tone with the drive to really push things. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can keep the level and the intensity and the vibe and the speed down really low and just get some really smooth modulation happening on our sound sources, especially, and I can't stress this enough, to get that little bit of extra life, width, and movement to mono sound sources. Lastly, I really like how customizable it is for such a small and easy to use pedal. We have two different sounding drive circuits. We have two different sounding vibe circuits. We can use this button at the upper right here to choose whether the drive comes before the vibe or whether the vibe comes before the drive. It's really surprising how much sonic sculpting we can do with such an easy to use pedal. If you're curious about any of the other Eventide .9 pedals, I've done demos for all 4 of those as well. I've also done a demo video for the Eventide H90 pedal and all of their iOS effects apps. I'm going to put a link to the playlist of all my Eventide demo videos up here in the corner if you want to hear more. In this setup, I've got a beat coming out of the Electron Digitact, and I'm also using the Digitact to send MIDI information into the Eventide Misha module to help me create a melodic sequence. I'm routing that sequence out of the case using a Strymon AA1 module, and that's going directly into the Riptide pedal. Both the beat and the melodic sequence are then being routed into the 1010 Blue Box mixer and recorder so I can record what this sounds like. Let's take a listen.